Kerry Von Erich in his prime versus Bobby Lashley. Who is the better overall professional wrestler? I just want to point out, whenever I do these pictures too, I always make sure not to show the grapefruit Kerry Von Erich had sticking in his
This has got to be Producer Joe.
Producer Joe out
there.
He
loves grapefruit.
Yeah, that's good. Hey, grapefruit's healthy for you.
Now, Dave, if people want to actually get into this comparison, where can they do that after we're done with this?
Oh, I have a YouTube short, and it's right on the channel. So go feel free to check it out. Kerry Von Erich versus Bobby Lashley. It's in our playlist of shorts. I got a lot of feedback on this, and I thought majority of people thought Kerry was the better wrestler. I think me and AJ are going to disagree with that. I think we're both going to be on the same page here, but I will see. When you talk charisma and you talk about having a connection with the fans, I can see Kerry in his prime might having that edge. But stylistically, I think it's a bad matchup for Kerry, because one of the things Kerry's really good at is strength and power. He doesn't have that over Bobby Lashley. Pure wrestling ability. Bobby's a great amateur wrestler, so he doesn't have that over Kerry.
Well, let's first of all be clear what we're actually debating here.
In-ring talent, and we can throw in mic skills and stuff like that.
Are we talking about greatest career? Or are we talking?
No, greatest pro wrestler. We'll talk career in a second. We can go to that too. I like to talk career too. So let's just start off with who's the better all-around wrestler, and we'll take in look, mic skills, presence, and obviously in-ring ability.
So I put a lot of thought into this. Some things I've changed my mind on. Some things I'm still feel the same about. Bobby Lashley, obviously hands down the best wrestler out of the two of them. His MMA background, wrestling in the Army, the man's just a phenomenal. Now, that being said, Kerry was a fantastic athlete himself, a discus, world-class discus, track star in Texas. But I think that Kerry was actually better, believe it or not, to me, on drawing emotion out in an interview. I love Bobby Lashley. Bobby Lashley, let's hurt people. Yeah, hurt people. And he's funny in a dry way, but Kerry connected with people very emotionally and very visceral in his regional promotion, and even when he came to the WWE. So that's an interesting place to really draw the comparison with the two.
And another thing you can say for Kerry fans out there too, and by the way, I'm a bigger Kerry fan. Nothing against Bobby. I love the Von Erichs. I grew up on them. Kerry was one of my favorite Von Erichs for the simple fact, when I was a kid, I found out he beat Ric Flair for the NWA World title. And I didn't like Flair, who was a heel at the time. So I thought, how cool is that? I want to see more of this guy. Kerry did have an ability to connect with the fans. The Von Erichs were like the Beatles in Texas. It's not too much hype to say that. It was absolutely insanity in Denton, Texas in particular. They're probably gods among these people.
For our younger fans, if you're not overly familiar with the Von Erichs, do yourself a favor, do a deep dive on it, because you're going to hear us talking and you're not going to truly understand what the Von Erichs meant to Texas wrestling if you don't do a deep dive on it. They were huge.
Absolutely. So, yeah. And also Kerry, the fact that, he had his demons, but the fact that he was even able to wrestle on one leg, and a lot of us didn't know. We just thought Kerry slowed down. Like, that's incredible. But in the end, I got to say Bobby Lashley's a better wrestler. Career-wise is very interesting. I think this is where you're going to pick Kerry. I'm still sticking with Bobby for a couple reasons. Bobby was in that famous Billionaires match with Vince McMahon and Donald Trump. Bobby's been a couple-time WWE World Champion now. He holds a victory over Brock Lesnar. He's been a champ at AEW, the tag titles. I don't think we've seen the most of what Bobby's capable of AEW yet, but we certainly could. But, again, Kerry was an NWA World Champion, although it was a short reign, and he was an Intercontinental Champion. But also, Kerry was a champion back when titles didn't change hand every month.
It's longer than Victor Djokovic. So my opinion is that I actually agree with you. Bobby Lashley had the better all-around career. To me, Bobby Lashley is dedication. He's endurance through his career, and he's a model of professionalism. But that being said, Kerry Von Erich, to me, is the greater story. Farm boy, athlete, Texas son, grows up, lives well, does right by his family, wins the world title when his brother dies. Tragically, he beats one of the greatest, if not the greatest world champion of all time, then has a horrible motorcycle accident, loses his foot, wrestles with one wooden foot, makes it all the way back to the WWE to win the Intercontinental title, which, by the way, was considered the workman's title at that time. He was wrestling guys like Mr. Perfect, Rick Rude, Bret Hart. These are guys that are considered the greatest workers of all time, and he was keeping pace with them. And then, unfortunately, he gets hooked on drugs, painkillers, God knows what, ends up tragically killing himself. If this is not one of the greatest stories, if not not tragic stories, but greatest stories in wrestling, then I don't know what is.
You know, in the end, I think we felt like Bobby Lashley just kind of edged him out in either category, but there's certainly a lot of stuff where Kerry does get the advantage on Bobby. And in the end,
I'll tell you what, the physiques is not. I thought when you look at those physiques next to each other, holy shit.
Yeah, Kerry was a monster at one point with his physique. It's arguable that he had the best physique in wrestling at one point. Please like and subscribe.